Hey guys, ChrisFix here, and this is my product review for the Go2 Socket. So I got this socket because the daughter of the person who invented this actually contacted me and asked me if I wanted to try it out, and I'm up for trying anything out, so I said yes, and here we go. This is going to be an honest review, just like all my product reviews, and I'll let you know how it works. The Go2 Socket is an adjustable socket and a bolt and nut extractor. It grips rounded bolts and nuts, basically anything that could fit in this cavity here. They even have a video on their website that shows this socket gripping onto rebar and twisting it, which is crazy. So you can see on the side here, there's a list of different shapes that this Go2 socket could actually grab onto, and it says that it fits sizes 10mm to 20mm and 3/8 to 3/4. And the actual drive on this is a 3/8 drive, so you have to use a 3/8 ratchet for this. It's a neat idea. It goes on a ratchet like a socket, it changes sizes like a crescent wrench, and it clamps down like a vise. The socket itself is made of chrome vanadium, which is like most sockets that you see on the market. The vise screw that clamps down on the bolt head is made of chrome moly, which is even stronger. That's what impact wrenches are made of. And the inventor told me they made this thing really bulky and strong because that was their goal, to have a strong product. Something that's not going to break on you, something that doesn't feel flimsy, and this thing has some weight to it, so I'll definitely agree to that. This socket was invented in the United States, and it's made in Taiwan. I'm excited to give this a shot, see how it works, so let's go find some rounded bolts and see what kind of applications we could put this to the test on. Make sure you stay tuned till the end because I'm going to be giving one of these away, and I'm also going to tell you how you can get a discount if you want to purchase one of these. So here's the perfect place to test the Go2 socket. Right now I'm working on my PT Cruiser. The engine blew out, so I'm actually putting a new engine in. So right now I'm just going to test the Go2 socket on a normal bolt that isn't rusted, it isn't rounded or anything. I'm going to try it out on a strut tower bolt. So now I'm just going to put the socket on top of the bolt and just tighten down the little side screw until it's on there good. Okay. Well, it turned the bolt no problem. One thing that I'm noticing is because this isn't completely in the center, the bolt's off to the side. This actually, when it spins, will contact the side here. So I'm going to go put it on this nut again, tighten it down. It tightens down really nicely. I could just use my fingers, especially for something that's not rounded. Put my wrench on here, and then watch what happens. You can see that gap that's there. You see how it's not completely round, so it'll actually eventually hit this. So this wouldn't be something you'd want to use for a bolt that's in a tight spot that you could easily get off with a regular wrench. If you really need to, you could continue to just keep turning it, and then you could just tighten it or loosen it until you run out of clearance. I'd say so that's the one setback for this, besides it being very large so it doesn't fit in tight areas. When you're spinning it, it's kind of asymmetrical, so you could run into clearance problems, especially, I mean, if this is sticking out or whatever. But I don't think this is really designed to take off a normal bolt. I could normally get to this. This isn't rounded at all. This is actually a good looking bolt. You can see, no problem. What I think this is going to be the best for is when you're stuck. You really can't get the stupid bolt off because it's rounded, it's rusted, and you're ready to drill this out or give up on your project for the day or whatever. I know it's super frustrating when bolts are rounded or nuts are rounded and you can't get them off. This is where this is going to be amazing. Although when you finally spin it around all the way here and it has no more room to go, you might have to take it off and bring it back. Who cares as long as you get this stupid bolt off, you know what I mean? So let's go find a nice rusty bolt to give this a try. So I'm at the rear muffler here, and what I'm doing is I'm looking at this ground bolt right here, and I'd like to get this ground off. Problem is, I have the right socket on here, but as usual, a rusty bolt that's tightened on there pretty good is just going to strip. So I'm going to take the Go2 socket, let's get that on there, tighten it down by hand. Once it's all the way tightened by hand, I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver. Just give it that extra tightness. Now I'm going to get my ratchet and see if I can get this to break loose. Well, it's turning it. And I'm actually having a little bit of trouble getting this off here. Because this bolt isn't very high, the bolt head isn't very long, it doesn't really fit into this socket completely. You can see that the clamping screw on here actually doesn't go out all the way, so you need to have like a decent size bolt in here for this to work really easily. Now I'm not going to give up on it. I think I could get this to work, but it's not going to be as easy as I thought it would be. Try it again, see what happens. Yeah, now it's just completely stripping this. This is just not going deep enough into the socket for it to grab on here. So for these little guys, this is definitely not working as well as I thought it would, just because this bolt that pushes up against the bolt head here isn't sticking out far enough. So this bolt head really has to be pretty thick and go into this socket pretty deep for it to really grab onto here really well. Right now it's not grabbing on very well. See, it's just really hard to get this to clamp down onto that bolt. Just because this bolt head isn't very deep. It's pretty small actually, and it doesn't really fit into this very far. You can see it just goes in however deep that is, a couple millimeters. This is meant for a little bit larger bolts, I think. So now I want to give this socket a try on something that I think is going to be very useful. I've actually had viewers ask me how to get lug nuts that are stripped off the tire. So we're at my front tire here on this van, and what happened was this van had to get its tires changed, and I guess when they were changing the tires they lost a lug nut. You can see here's the correct size lug nuts, and then this one is incorrect. So when they tightened this one down, they stripped it. They didn't say anything, and guess what? Now I'm stuck with a strip bolt. So here's 3/4. You can see this is on here good. Here's 3/4 on the one that is stripped. Literally just turning. I feel a little bit of a click right there, but I cannot get this lug nut off. This is the perfect application for the Go2 socket, and this will really put it to the test. And if it works here, then it's definitely something that you should consider, because it'll save you the time and hassle of getting a lug nut off or some larger nut off. So the 3/4 is what fits on these lug nuts. One strategy to get a rounded lug nut off is to find a socket that's just a little bit smaller, just so it's a snug fit, and really get it on there. In that case, that's going to be the 19mm. That just spins. So let's go down a size to an 18. I'm really pushing hard on this, and it's just spinning again. And 18 is pretty tight. I mean, this lug nut is rounded really good. And just to make sure, I don't think it's going to fit, but just to try, let's do a 17. Yeah, 17 is not even going to make it even close. That's not even getting on there. So I just wanted to show you that method, because that's one method when you have rounded lug nuts. You just use a size smaller and it grabs onto it. Problem is, this is so rounded that even if it is a size smaller, it's not going to grab onto the edge. And that's where the Go2 socket is going to shine. So let's give it a shot. This is the perfect situation. These lugs are deeper. They'll go deeper into the cavity here, and I could get a real good grip on it. So now I'm going to just take my Go2 socket on an extension and try to find a good spot for me to tighten it down. And that feels good right there. Tighten the adjuster screw down like that. I'm going to do it by hand at first, see if that just works by itself. Get my ratchet on there. See if that broke it, and that broke it loose. Look at that. Perfect. Now you can see the difference in roundness of these two lug nuts. This one's completely rounded on the edge, and this one's nice and squared. So we're going to put the good one back on, and finally got that off. Torque the good lug nut to 100 foot-pounds, and it worked. So I just wanted to compare the two lug nuts really quickly. This is what used to be on there. You can see the stud's broken. I started drilling it out, but here's what was on there. This looks almost round, which is crazy that the Go2 socket could grab onto it. Even with me just turning my hand, I didn't even have to use a screwdriver. I didn't even have to use a vice grips or anything. I just got that in there, and I turned it by hand, and it gripped onto it really well, even though there's no edge or anything. So that is definitely something it worked really well on. It's not going to work in all applications. It'll work really well on something like this. This is my truck. It fits in here, and you could actually take this cover off, and then you have all the room you need. There's plenty of room. And then these lug nuts stick out really far, which makes this really good. So this would work great on my truck. But then I have my PT Cruiser here, and you can see this would not work at all. The lugs are recessed inside the rim, so getting this in here
I mean, maybe right there, that might be enough to just get it so that it cracks it loose. And then once lug nuts are cracked loose, you could just turn them by hand, as you saw when I did the other one. So if you have enough room to get it like right there and then just crack it loose, that actually might work. So I guess it is feasible. It could potentially work on these lug nuts as well.
So overall, I'm quite impressed with the Go2 socket. It's definitely a good tool to have for emergencies, to get those bolts or those nuts that are stuck in there and get them right out. So the pros and the cons for the Go2 socket. The pros: it's well made, it's durable, it's a good price for an emergency bolt or nut extractor. It's a good emergency tool that'll save you from the pain of getting a bolt or a nut stuck and then you're stuck on the job and you can't figure out how to get it off, and then you might have to drill it, and if you drill it you can mess things up. And it works really well on those deeper, larger nuts. Even the smaller nuts and bolts, but they have to have a larger head so it fits in the socket really nicely. And for the cons, because the socket fits so many different size bolts and nuts, if you don't have it exactly in the middle, when you're turning the socket with the ratchet, it has a oblong rotation. It makes like an oval shaped rotation. Instead of just spinning exactly over the nut, it kind of spins over to the side of the nut. So it does take up a lot of room, and if you're in a tight area, you might have to take it off the nut or the bolt that you're working on and put it back on in a different position and then loosen again and keep doing that, which isn't too big of a deal as long as you get that nut or bolt that's stuck off. Another con is that it doesn't really work too well with the smaller nuts or bolts. It's harder to get the grip on it with the screw. So would I recommend this to a friend? Yes, for sure. This is ChrisFix approved. This is definitely going to get you out of a sticky situation one day, and it's just going to be helpful. You could grab onto studs. If you break off the bolt head, you could have it grab onto the actual bolt stud and then get the bolt out still. That's another thing that this is good for. There are endless possibilities of how you could get bolts and nuts and studs and screws unstuck using this, where normally you might have to drill it out or you can't figure out how to get it out. Sure, it's not going to work in some applications, but this is definitely a tool that's worth to have, and it's not really that expensive, and that one time that it's going to save you, it'll pay for itself. So that's my honest review of the Go2 socket. I told you in the beginning that I have some good news at the end, and it's going to be that I'm giving away 3 of these, and all you have to do is be a subscriber and comment below on this video. And you could comment anything, but I'm curious what you would use this for. Do you have something that is stuck and you've been trying to get it out and you haven't had any luck getting it out and you think this is going to help you? Comment that below. Also, if you like this product review video, give it a thumbs up. That helps me out. Also, consider subscribing. I'm going to be doing more product reviews in the future. Got a bunch of neat products coming in. Last thing, more good news. If you aren't one of the 3 winners, I talked to the owner of the Go2 socket, and they're giving me a special discount link in the description below. So if you want to buy one of these, they're 15% off. Just follow that link in the description, and that's for ChrisFix subscribers. So there's a little perk of being a subscriber.